866-594-4150. Let's talk to Lonnie. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Lonnie, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I got a 93 Corvette that had ignition system. They don't have a distributor, correct?
Correct. Well, no.
Yeah, it runs off the harmonic balance, on back of the harmonic balance.
It's an OptiSpark. It's technically a distributor,
there
but
you go.
I just call it their fancy name for it is a high voltage switch because it is taking the high voltage from the coil and distributing it around, that's distributor, right? But they call it a high voltage switch, but distributor is fine.
I call it the thing that eventually breaks.
I call it junk, yeah. The updated ones are really good.
There you go. You got that right. Well, anyway, I replaced 3 of them already, and within probably less than 2,000 miles.
Now.
And I'm just wondering what is going on there. The AC Delco one, that was the first one I put in it, and when we took it apart, it was pieces in there.
Oh, that's
and then we went to one that Napa had, and I don't know what brand that is, but anyway, that lasted maybe 500 miles. And now I put another one in, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but I don't even got 2,000 miles on both of those that I replaced.
Did the second one fail?
The original one has 60,000.
Did pieces come apart in that one too?
Yes, it did. No, it did not. It didn't. We took it apart. It was all together, but
it didn't work.
It just, was popping, banging, idling and stuff, Yeah.
All right. So no moisture in there? The water pump wasn't leaking in there?
No, we replaced the water pump automatically all time.
Okay. And when you put this in, it's the upgraded distributor that has a hose coming to it and a hose going out of it to pull air through it into the air cleaner? Okay, because if you've got an old one for some reason, I don't know why you would, but if you got one that didn't have that will have a problem. They'll overheat, so they put the little airflow in there, which doesn't do a whole lot of good, but it helps. You may just have got bad distributors. A lot of that stuff is made in China, and you kind of get what you get, but I say you get what you pay for, but you pay for the best one you can find, and even that a lot of times is made in China, and the quality of those things, they were pretty poor to begin with, and then they got worse when some of them got out there. And none of our partners that make really good quality stuff, I mean, we got Standard makes amazing parts for that, but they don't have that distributor. Either does Dorman. It's just not one that's it's not in such demand that a lot of people are producing them right now. Yeah. So you can't, I'd say, hey, get this one because they've updated it and it's better, but
is there, I'm sure you probably have, but if you get into, I talk about this and Chris says, where are these things at that you're getting this information? Yeah. But you get into a group on,
it's like those people
on the LT1 engines and the older ones.
Forums.
The forums. And if you ask this question, I'm sure, or search the forum, it's been asked before.
You type in LT1 forum on Google.
And then if you find that, then you could go through and search that history, and you could probably find where there's probably been the question asked, and there's probably been 100 answers. Look for the most recent ones, because sometimes you'll see that, hey, here's updated information. Here's a link to a specialty distributor made by this company.
Just to beware and ignore the ones that say, well, I had a Ford and it did this.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to be very careful. But typically when you get into a closed group like that, you're going to find somebody he's the guy. And Chris is shaking his head because he can't find him. I find him.
Okay.
You just got to scroll a little bit longer.
Lonnie, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
With over 2,000 episodes and over 200 stations, Under the Hood has the knowledge to make your car feel good. This is Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. Don't forget, if you miss an episode, you can always find it wherever you get your podcast. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Hoodie Fan Club at UnderTheHoodShow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Janet Lewis, congratulations from all of us here at the Under the Hood Show and our friends over at Berkeley One Classics. They're celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage and, of course, Universal Technical Institute. You can find them at uti.edu with new campuses opening all over the place just in time for Christmas, right?
And we're going to have some people from Berkeley One Classics visiting us here in the studio here in a week.
We are. They're going to come in. We got a couple of the the big shots,
The higher up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have not come in. We have had people on the show. It's
Berkeley
been
2 and 3,
yeah, there you go.
not 1, but just a step down.
There you go. We've talked before on the air, but it's been a number of years. So they're going to come in and with Shannon. It'll be just Shannon and I because Chris will be out for his annual
Radiothon
Children's
for kids.
Miracle Network Radiothon, where they've raised, is it millions now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Do we
millions.
still have a link on our website?
Oh, yeah, we
for
do.
that. Yeah, you can get involved.
It would be much less work for me if I were to just come here, but it would be much less rewarding. No offense. No offense to you guys, but I've got my my schedule's pretty full for the next week getting ready for that.
The commitment that is made by your team to pull that together, and the love that you show for these families and children is something you should be very proud of, and your group should be very proud of. It's cool. It's really neat.
It's the only good thing I do all year. And don't get me wrong.
You said that before. I always laugh when you say that because
I generally don't do bad stuff. I just don't do that much at all.
Your
And
wife
this is
says you put the seat down, so
This
that's
is
that's the second thing.
That is. I do that too.
all the time.
All the time. And we even have separate bathrooms. And I'm very
Just in case.
just always been my thing.
Do you
I've
give a
polite.
wipe on the rim when you're done?
Depends. It started out so nice. It started out with the sponsors, and then it went to niceness, and now here's where we end
The
up.
producer is putting his head down and just shaking. He goes, Shannon had to take it further.
866-594-4150. Let's go to West Virginia and talk to Tim. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Tim, what can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. I feel like I'm in slow motion. I usually listen to you at 1.5 or 2 times speed on the podcast.
Sure.
I think I think that Russ could probably talk in that voice if we asked him to.
Right, yeah.
The 1.5 speed, 2 speeds.
One available at this price.
Micro Machines.
Yeah.
I called back a few months ago about a 2000 Jeep Commander and whether it was worth the cost of the rabbit hole going down fixing it after a radiator had blown. I found that it's not worth the cost, but I learned something on it. The reason that overheated and blew is because my power steering fluid was low. I wasn't aware that there were power steering driven cooling fans on these things. And going through the replacement, it looked like the Game of Thrones throne with the rust, the way it crystallized around those quick connect fittings on the cooler. I took the horseshoe clip out, trying to get the line out, heat and juice, but it ended up breaking right at the end of the cooler. My question is that fluid at the power steering cooler, is that high pressure, or can I just
We just lost him.
in with just some?
Hold on, Tim.
No,
we'll try and answer
I
your
think
question.
we got his question, I think.
All right.
Can you? He's asking if he can loop
are
it.
the lines at the cooler high pressure? No. Typically, your cooler is going to be low pressure because it's just a beer can. It's a tin can. It's super thin. Your pressure leaves the pump and goes through the operating components. Your steering gear, your fans, which is even lower. Brakes. If you got a system that's got a power brake booster too, that's hydraulic, it'll go through the steering gear, through the brake booster, and then through the fans last because they're going to be lower pressure. And with that hydraulic motor, it's like a Bobcat hydraulic motor that runs that, and then through the cooler and back in. They're cooling it last because you're still generating heat, so they cool it as it goes back in. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I had some of those fittings. I used a whole can of CRC penetrating lubricant, the free spray they have, to try to get a fitting loose. And it's like, well, that's not, they're probably saying CRC's, if they're listening, they're like, isn't that overkill? I'm like, well, I used it every day for like 2 weeks. Every time I walk by,
not just
for a
holding
fitting.
it down for 4 minutes.
No, right, exactly.
Like how I kill wasps.
Right? Yeah.
Chris liked that video of that. He's like, it's so satisfying to empty the brake clean. No. But I just, every time I'd walk by, I'd say, okay, it's dried up, put a little more. And then finally I got to it and I gave it a little tap and doop, came right off.
CRC to the rescue.
Well, this fitting I was trying to take off, I couldn't replace it. that don't make them. And I'm not calling over here because we've done that before. And I said, hey, Jim, I call one of our guys out that does our yard stuff. I need one of these. He's like, they don't come off. I'm like, well, I know, but you got to get one off. It's like,
No, I couldn't get it off, but I bet you can.
Yeah, exactly. In the yard, right? Frozen. It's going to come off easier for me with no tool. So, but yeah, your cooler. I don't know what your question is. We're thinking it's probably that.
No, his question is, can he bypass it? I mean, is that what your question was? Can he loop that cooler and just run it back into itself?
Yeah. So the line set into that cooler is not available. I'm pretty good with computers and cannot find it anywhere. It's discontinued.
I don't think it is.
And
yeah.
then, so trying to take that fitting out of the cooler, I messed up the cooler. So my question was, could I just get a universal power steering cooler?
Yep.
And just with hose clamps and whatever.
Transmission fluid cooler, whatever. That's what we do. We cut it off. We put a cooler in there, and then we clamp them on with hose clamps. And we'll use power steering line. It's different. Power steering and transmission line is different than fuel line. Don't use that. So make sure you use the right line. They've got that available at the parts stores, and you'll be fine. We usually double clamp it so it's on there nice and solid and not over tighten it because that will also make it leak. But yeah, that'll work.
And with power steering fluid, for whatever reason, we've talked about this before, but I remember when I had to add mine, there are a lot of warnings about power steering fluid.
Don't drink it.
Don't touch it. Don't look at it. It'll burst into flame. Don't overfill. Don't spill. Don't shake it.
The key takeaway here, though,
don't stare
is
at
for
it.
people to check. Is your car ready for the highway or the junkyard? YouTube. You've got to make sure you know if your fluids are full, and you should be you don't have to be a mechanic, but you should know what your car uses. Do I have power steering fluid to run my fans? Is it important to check that? Where do I fill the radiator? Is there a cap on the radiator, or is it on a separate bottle? Can I take it off when the vehicle's warm because it's an overflow reservoir with no pressure, or does it have pressure? Those are some small things that any mechanic can teach you about your own car very quickly. In 10 minutes, they can go over that with you and show you those things. They'll be, happy to. They'll keep you going. There's a lot of people, there's people listening to this show right now saying, there's what? The power steering pump runs the fans? They started that, I think, with Subaru is the oldest I can remember. Subaru did it a long time ago, like back in the 70s. And then some other manufacturers, it's not very common. Not many people do it or have done it, but it is enough that it is a problem. And they do it for the space savings instead of an electric fan, because that hydraulic fan will rip a lot more air than an electric one will.
Tim, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Glenn. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Glenn, what can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. What can we do for you, Glenn?
Good. I got 11 Ford F-350 diesel with the 6R 140 transmission, and it's been kind of shifting hard from first to second. And it doesn't do it all the time. Sometimes if it's cold out, it'll seem like it does it less, and then as it warms up, it'll do it more. It's kind of intermittent. I've had it to two shops. One saying they need a new transmission. The other one is saying that it's the valve body. About 142,000 miles on it, mostly highway, interstate. And sometimes it does it when it shifts back down second to first, but it's not all the time.
So we've done a lot of these transmissions. We're doing one of these in our shop right now. And the reason we're doing one right now is because the transmission shop that looked at it said, well, it's your valve body hanging up. And that's the problem. But what we don't know is, because the fluid looks really dark in there, we don't know if there's been any major damage done. Because it's dark, it means it's been slipping and burning. But maybe it's not too bad. Maybe we could put a valve body in it, flush it completely, and you're good to go. And you've got a couple $1,000 wrapped up into all that stuff. The no guarantee part is the problem. You get it all done,
the problem.
And then you drive it. Yeah, because then now you're like, oh, now I got to get a reman trans anyways, and I've already spent all this money, and then nobody feels good, and it's Christmas time. But I can tell you of those
that's my dilemma.
Yeah, so they come into our shop, And about 9 out of 10 that come in that have been told a valve body might fix it, but they called us and said, well, your prices are good. I'm just going to go with the reman. When we pull that pan off to drain it thoroughly before we remove it from the vehicle, that 9 out of 10 have metal in them. And that metal means that putting a valve body in it wasn't going to fix it, because that contamination will destroy a new valve body in seconds. It'll get in there and it'll start gumming up those valves, and then it won't shift, and you'll have a problem. And you already got 140,000 miles on it. Would be great if it made 200. With myself, I see vehicles and I say, hey, 200, I feel really good about the miles you got out of it. 100, I feel like you got cheated. 150, 160, I'm thinking, well, we could have played a better game, but, we made it. We've been pulling hard with it for a number of years. We got some miles out of it. So I don't feel too bad about yours if it needs a trans, but
I will add to that, though. I did change the fluid and filter when this started happening, and there was like no filings in it. It was very clean. Fluid looked very good. I put new fluid in there anyway, and like I said, I've never hardly towed with this thing. Been mostly interstate.
And then you might be okay. So you're gonna have to pull out the diagnostic dice we have here on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Pull them out, Shannon. Give them a roll and see what it says, because he's up. Yeah, we haven't pulled those out in about a year, I'd say.
And you might and always check with Ford to see if they have any new updates. But this one's been in the market long enough; they should have got all that done already.
Did you do the firmware update on the diagnostic dice?
I did not do that.
Okay,
I did not. So
because that's always important. Just give one of those a roll there.
Yeah, I'm looking here to see which one might be a transmission related, but I don't know if we have.
I think you just throw them out and see what the first thing comes out is.
Well, they're all. Let's see. Here we go. We're gonna roll them now.
Okay, it'll give us 5 choices there. What are our 5 choices he should do?
Seriously.
Yeah.
New transmission's the first one I grabbed.
Done. Don't look at any more.
There you go.
Stop right there.
It's a diesel, so don't do injectors. No, they're too expensive. Water pump, crank cam angle sensor, and restricted exhaust. So the first dice we rolled was new transmission.
So there you go.
This was not staged.
Congratulations, Glenn.
Yeah, you can go back and watch this on YouTube after you tried the valve body only and it doesn't work. And then you'll say, look.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the call.
Definitely check the firmware, though, to make sure you got the newest firmware in that transmission.
It needs to be updated on the new transmission anyway, so you can go ahead and do it now and see if it helps any.
866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the End of the Hood Show.
If your Band-Aid can is empty because you have so many dash lights on, you need to call Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the End of the Hood Show. Let's talk to Miguel in Connecticut. You're on the End of the Hood Show, Miguel. What can we do for you?
Yeah, how you doing? So I just had a quick question about my 87 Volvo. So I used to own a 93 Volvo, but as getting familiar with the motor in the car, I bought another 87. So even though it's classified as a 240, the engine's actually a 244. And the only problems I really have with it, other than just maintenance upkeep, is like when it turns over, it'll stall during the during the initial of turning the car around. It'll stay on for a few minutes and then it'll stall out. If I put it in drive, it'll stall out. And so far, I'm puzzled to what it could be besides the comment of the fuel, air, and spark. I replaced the entire fuel system from front and back, and so far the airflow sensor and stuff like that. And it still happens. Now that it got colder, it actually lasts longer. So still puzzled on what it can actually be without an OBM reader in it. It's one of the cars that didn't have it, so I don't have any engine code.
So when you're dropping it into gear, it dies. If you give it a little gas, will it not die?
Out.
Yeah, if you rev it up a little bit.
I have to do it softly. I have to do it really softly, and then it won't die. But if I just full throttle the idle, it'll cut out. Now that it's gotten colder, that was happening when it was warmer. When it got colder now, the engine's actually just staying on. So I want to say that's points to an air problem, but I don't want to. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, so I try to replace everything on that Volvo.
It could be a million things, but what I have experienced on one before is a bad coil. I had a bad coil, and when you put it in gear, it would die like that. it was enough flow. It actually would only die in reverse, not in drive, but it was harder to engage in reverse than drive. And what we did is I got to a point where I parked on the hill at our old shop. It was so long ago, like this is before 2000. I parked on the hill so I could start it up in park and then put it in neutral and start rolling backwards down the hill. So I was going a couple miles an hour, and then I put it into gear, and it stumbled a little bit, but it kept rolling. And once it was in gear and rolling, I could hit the brake and stop, and it was fine. And then I put it into drive, and I went forward, put it in reverse again, and it died. If I wasn't rolling when I put it into gear, it would die. And it was that little bit of load. But what I also noticed about it was at about 45 miles an hour in drive, going up a hill, before it would kick down, it would sometimes hesitate a little bit. It was that misfires when I found that coil problem. But the coil fixed that one. I also had a Ford F-150 that did the same thing with an old 300 straight six in it. It had a weak coil that was causing that to die. And I just couldn't. I tried to duplicate it and find it on a spark scanner, watching the spark. And because the spark was perfect until the engine shut off, there was no way to catch the glitch. It never did glitch. It just was either on and perfect or off and no spark. So, that if you got some, it's going to be hard. It's not like you got another one of those laying around you can try. But at that age, it wouldn't hurt.
Go find another 87 Volvo and see if it acts the same way.
Standard still makes coils for these things. You might just try, because of age and tune-up issues, you might try a coil on it, a coil in the wire set and
So
see.
that's the funnier part. I replaced the entire coil, spark plugs, spark wires, fuel system, the pump, fuel lines, the fuel pump, the
What
fuel
do I know?
filter, the outline. So it's hard because, like I said, now that it's colder out, it stays a little bit on. It high idles, and then it looks like it's about to shut off, but then to me, that looks like it goes into a normal idle when it's low.
How many miles are on this one? How many miles are on it?
57,000.
So really low mileage, 1987. That could be a candidate for the fact that this thing's got a bunch of carbon built up on the backside of the valves, and when it gets colder out, it starts absorbing some of that fuel atomization instead of let it freely atomize in the cylinder, and it just can't run as efficiently. Have you had a bore scope in there or anything to look to see? That's something that you could do, what it looks like inside the cylinders up near the valves? Because if you do have if you got a lot of buildup, it's going to be hard for that thing to run smooth at idle.
Yeah.
And that would be something that you could not, you can't buy that at the parts store. That's the hard one. It's like plaque in your heart. So that's something to consider, is that just with the low mileage and the age of the vehicle, that it's had a whole life of probably not a lot of hot drive cycles for it to stay at that low a mileage for that age. So it's something to consider before you start buying a bunch of parts, is just to think about that.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I didn't do it the smart way. I just three of them. Let me just start replacing and buying.
$700 later, $500 later, whatever it is. At least you're doing it yourself, so you're not having to spend the labor.
Right.
That's a good thing. But
plus, I love that motor. Like, I love everything about the Volvo, just for the fact that everything's like fit for your hand. Everything's handmade, so it's not like the Honda motors where everything's real tight. I gotta drop this and drop this. I can pretty much really get in there with ease and just replace what I have to replace.
Our dismantlers hated Volvos. Saabs. That's what I was getting at. My mind got lost there.
They can equally be a pain, but the Saabs that had the 5.3 GM engines in them, we were like, a 5.3, I'll do it. Oh,
I was thinking of the older Saabs that had the differential and the oil pan.
Like a 900, Saab 900.
They were just a nightmare.
Miguel, thanks very much for the call. Good luck.
Boy, when was the last time we saw when was the last time this recycling facility had a Saab 900 in it? Because we don't even have one here. I don't think.
Know.
Maybe we have
seems like
one.
we've had one roll through the self-service in the last couple of years.
866-594-4150. Let's talk to Ernest in Connecticut. Ernest, we got a couple minutes. What can we do for you?
Yes, the Saab is what I'm calling about.
I didn't even see that.
That's weird.
I have a 9.5 2001 Saab 4-cylinder. It has 146,000 miles on it. Well, I have three questions. I'll ask the first one first. How much money would you put in that car? It's running good. Everything is good. It just have a little teeny bit of rust by the back wheel there.
How many miles on it?
It's a wheel. 146,000.
All right. Here's what I tell every single customer that calls me looking to get an engine or transmission replacement, which is big money on anything. It's serious. I tell them, they say, well, I'm not sure what the car is worth. If I should spend several $1,000s to do this, is it even worth it? I tell them, go look on Facebook Marketplace and in car lots, wherever you see cars for sale, find one that is as close to yours as possible and see what they're selling for. If you look around at this Saab and you see that other people have this for sale, like even on Facebook, and it's selling for, let's say, $9,000 in your shape, or $5,000, or $1,000.
Right.
You got to find out. If it's selling for $5,000 in the shape yours is in, maybe it has a tiny little bit of rust, then you're pretty comfortable spending $2,000 or $3,000 to get this going, because you can't go get another one for that price. But if you find that they're selling for $2,000 and you need a $3,000 repair to it, and it's already starting to rust a little bit, hit the brakes and say, no, that's too much. That goes for any car. But a lot of people don't know what their car is worth because they bought it 4 or 5 years ago when it was worth about 50 to 60% of what it's worth now, because the dollar value has gone down and the value of the cars has gone up. So they're a lot more money than they were when they purchased the car, and they find that out.
And you might find out that I don't need a Saab. I need to get something else.
That's true, because of the cost of repairs.
That is one thing that you guys, when we talk about this never comes up, and it should more maybe. Do you like the car too? Because we talk about,
and if you like it,
how
it's
much
worth spending more.
Exactly. Do you want it to?
Yep.
Do you want to save $2,000?
Look at the restorers. You go restore a car you buy it for nothing and you spend thousands on it because you like it.
That's going to do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. Next hour's coming up. Stick around. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
You're listening to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics, Shannon Nordstrom and Russ the Super Tech Evans. Shannon is an ASE engine and parts specialist, and Russ is an ASE Master Certified Technician with extensive factory drivability training. The Under the Hood Show is heard weekly on this and other great radio stations.
With Russ Evans, this is Shannon Nordstrom, thanking you for tuning in to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show. Have a great day, and remember, PTLA.
The opinions heard on this program, based on the many years of experience of Russ and Shannon, are offered for entertainment value and as a guide to your repair needs. No guarantee to repair or cause is given or implied. Always check with your favorite certified technician and follow all safety procedures before attempting repair. The Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics is reproduced and distributed by Prairie House Productions. Have questions for the Motor Medics? Call our 24-hour toll-free number, 866-594-4150. All content of the Under the Hood Show is the property of Nordstrom's Incorporated. Copyright Nordstrom's Automotive and may be reproduced with our permission. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
Welcome to the Under the Hood Show. We are glad to have you with us. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. Now, let's go back to Connecticut and Ernest. Did you have another question about this, Ernest?
Yes, I just had one more. I had one more question. Now, Mike, this has started happening, and like I said, the car runs good, but it seemed like during the summer months, it seemed like it happens. It doesn't happen. It is so every now and then. If I drive the car sometimes, like say from Norwalk, I would say like 10 miles. It doesn't happen all the time. To like the grocery store. Go in the grocery store and come back, the car won't start up. It won't start up right away. And then I'll sit for like a minute or two and I turn it, then it'll start right up. Now, it doesn't do that all the time. And so that's it. I said, well, I wouldn't, but I can go 100 miles out and come back. I have no problems with it. And so it's like it's off and on. It doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened.
Welcome to owning a vintage car.
I know you're right.
Yeah, that's
You are correct.
the trick. But you diagnose it the same way you diagnose a 2026. You know, it's the same thing. When it doesn't start, what are we missing? You've got to look at data. You know, I even on my own vehicle when it's not running, I've got a scanner with me, which now a lot of people can get them. A little Bluetooth scanner they'll carry themselves, but you also got to know what you're looking for. So I've got all those tools in my toolbox, you know, literally.
And you still had a problem that ran for 6 years.
And I looked. Oh yeah,
Came up last week.
Exactly, and I finally caught it and fixed it. You know, it's just one of those things where, and I myself thinking I would fix something, tried a part thinking that's got to be this, and the part I put on was bad. So then I said, oh, it must be this, but the part was bad. So then I just created a whole nother thing. But yeah, so you're scanning it. So let's say we're scanning it and it's not starting, and we say, hey, why does the temp sensor on the engine say 290 degrees? It's not that warm. It's not starting, but I know it's not overheated. I mean, the engine's almost cold. It's been sitting for a few hours. It's 50 degrees outside. It shouldn't be that hot. Well, if we got a temp sensor that's not reading right and it's off, let's say 40 degrees, it could run most of the time, but during certain temperatures, like driving it further or driving it shorter, it could skew it and it could be wrong. I've got a Ford Ranger in the shop right now, and it's the extreme of that. It was, when it wasn't running, it was reading 500 degrees, like 480, whatever its max was, it was up there. And it just wouldn't, it was float, running bad. And some mice had got in there and chewed on the coolant temp sensor wire, and I think the sensor's got an issue too. But when it was running good, it read perfect. No check engine light. Nobody'd know because the computer really thought, well, it must be that hot because that's what it's reading, right? And it was switching. It wasn't like it was dead shorted and always at that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have cranked in the first place. So that's how you find those things. You hook up, and you know, unfortunately, it's just not something that shops can duplicate easily and quickly in these days. I kind of wonder. I worked when we were still working on a lot of carbureted cars without any kind of computer. But come to think of it, I can't remember cars that there were very few intermittent problems on old cars that I can remember.
Interesting.
I'd like to talk to some of my friends that were also
I
working
wonder
on
if
those
that's
and
true.
say, do you remember, like, oh, it only does this now and then, what it was? And of course, finding it was probably easier, but there were a lot less systems to
Well,
go
you'd have the
wrong.
Fords with the ignition module boxes, but then you just throw
They
another
were
one
dead
on.
or they weren't.
Yeah, you throw another one on.
It wasn't like once in a while they wouldn't start.
Yeah.
Does that help you out at all, Ernest?
Yes, but do you have a shop that I can come to?
Not for this. No.
Not in Connecticut.
We don't want your son.
You know, if you're
What, are you driving across the country anytime soon? It works when you go long distances.
head down to Boston to Good Times Garage, they'll love you. Tell them we sent you.
Okay.
Ernest, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. And your shop's in South Dakota, so
Right.
it's probably not what would the tow charge be on that one? If
Oh,
you're,
we've got people because of the show. They bring them.
yeah, that's true.
If they know somebody here, we've had them come from Oklahoma City, from
Mhm.
Texas, Minneapolis, Omaha, Montana. Those are like common places where
Ernest shows up and Russ is like, we don't want to.
if they know somebody here, like let's say they got family here, they'll bring a car on a trailer, they'll drop
Sure.
it off, and the next time they come through, they'll pick it up. And sometimes the car's here for 2-3 months, but they'll do that just because of the show, which is, you know, we're blessed to have people that trust us and want to do that. But also it's a long way. But we just don't do a lot of, we have so much business just doing your daily stuff, engines, transmissions, putting alternator on, a starter, whatever it is, that finding the time to do that intermittent work is hard to find it.
Yeah.
And when we do have that time, it's tedious, it's long, and it's very expensive.
Right.
So if you bring a car to a shop and it only acts up like once every 2 or 3 times you drive it, you're going to get billed for every time that the car is run. It's like when you're talking to an attorney on the phone. Hey, I just have a quick question. Oh, what is it? They're always happy to. They give you that. Well, what is it? I'm just wondering. What is your hourly rate again? Okay, thanks. You get your invoice at the end of the month, and it says, "Here's the billing for the the rounded up 5-minute call about how much our billing was." Or
Right.
just that's probably more than normal. But yeah, there's some of that already factored in.
Ernest, thanks very much for the call.
You
Good
know what I
luck.
mean.
866-594-4150. Let's talk to Mike. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Mike, what can we do for you?
Hey, how you guys doing? Love your show.
Thank you.
Real quick, 2014 Chevy Cruze. I got a crank, no start. And, probably just like you told the last guy, maybe a bunch of sensors or. I'll put it this way: I replaced the water pump because it was leaking a lot, and it was giving that traction symbol on the lights, and you'd have to stop and then let it sit for 10 minutes, and it'd run good. But long story short, we replaced the water pump, serpentine belt, and the reservoir for the antifreeze, and all of a sudden it started running brand new again. It always ran pretty good, but it did that tuning again, and it was really jerking. It wouldn't move, so it was barely even moving, but it was running. So we pulled it in, and this is the first time I had to tow it home. So, and now it's just not starting. You can hear the starter just going, and I don't know. It could be a lot of things, I suppose, but
Which
just thought I'd throw that out there.
you said you replaced the external serpentine belt?
I did the serpentine belt, the water pump, and the water pump reservoir, the reservoir where the antifreeze goes, and it just started running good again. It was weird. And that traction symbol used to come on, and it would bog out on me. But after I did all that, it seemed to like reset it or something. I don't know. It was running good, and I put this gas in at the gas station on 6th in Cleveland. And anyway, so and like 3 hours after that, it choked out on me again, and then it choked out real bad, and then it didn't do crap, and then I had to tow it home. And it's the first time that it never did run or fix itself. And you know what I mean, not fix itself. But so I'm just wondering, camshaft sensor, the starter, solenoid. I mean, I could probably throw that at you all day, like you said.
Well, it's cranking, so it's none of that. But the sensors, yeah, and especially if you did some water pump mess around in the front, a crankshaft sensor, camshaft sensor, they can keep it from starting. But a scanner, reading it out, plug that thing in, read, see what you're missing. If you don't have one, go get you even a cheap Bluetooth one. It'll show RPM on it, and it'll show camshaft sensor. Just read it. If you're cranking it, and all it does is go ree-nee-nee, then you just look at the scanner and say it's 0 RPM and it's cranking over. That means we don't have a signal to it. We don't have crank signal. But if you look at it and it's doing its thing, making that noise and it's cranking, and you have RPM, but you look down and it says cam signal no, then you know your cam's not doing it. Those are pretty easy things at home to at least find out what's going on. I have customers will drive a car and they'll say, hey, this thing died. What's it? I don't know what's going on, but the check engine light's on, but I don't want to come out and check it right now. I'm busy. Just stop into any auto parts store that scans car, have them read the code. Then you tell me what the code is, and I'll see if I might be able to point
That
you.
helps.
If it's something that you need to worry about right now, or you can come in later and we can schedule it, or what you need to do.
Mike, thanks very much for the call. And just for the record, I will accept the term "it fixed itself" because I'm a big proponent of that.
I mean, that's great, but I also get real nervous about that if I'm the one that has to drive the car across country and it was dying over and over and over, and now it's fine. And like, oh, I feel real comfortable going to Arizona with this thing.
Yeah.
The problem solved itself until it didn't.
Exactly. Mike, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
Car feeling ill? Don't want to spread it to your wallet? Call the Motor Medics for free advice.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. let's go to Maryland and talk to Randy. You're on the Under the Hood show. Randy, what can we do for you?
Oh, thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate everything you all do. Absolute godsend.
Thanks.
I have a question about my 2013 Explorer, and I also have a question on past episodes. Like through like iTunes, it seems like you can only go back a couple of years. So it'd be great to get some of the really older stuff. So if you all can let me know where to find that, that would be great too.
Well, yeah, I guess I could start with that since it's in my head. So you can on iTunes, I have it set to release. Now there's a couple thousand episodes. What are we at? 2,100. I think we're at like 2,100 episodes that are episode numbered. There were probably another 500 before that they exist, but I think Doug's got some files on CD. They're
Cassettes.
old. We went back to 1990. I mean, they're old, yeah. But the current version form what we have with Under the Hood, like with the three of us, we're at over 2,100 shows. If you go to our website and click on the player there's different ones because there'll be links to iTunes and with the Apple and Spotify and Amazon and Google, all that stuff. There's one there from Libsyn, which is our host platform, and it'll allow you to see all of them, or as many as possible.
Okay.
But iTunes gets a little, because they're a third party, they're a library. They basically are giving people a list of links to go back and listen to a show. They kind of frown upon when you have too many. I found that about 200 is their sweet spot, so it gives us a couple years worth. You get more than that, and they start cutting down the number of the way they promote your show so that new people see it. And if you have too few, then, the listeners can't get a good listen. So, and we never wanted to charge anybody to get the archives. We thought about, what if we do, $1 a year? Because you had to do something. If you did a special spot just for that, they make you charge something so that the podcast people can get something. But yeah, I think if you just go to our website, see how many you can get. And
when we're done, I'll just put you on hold. Maybe you can make a deal with Doug. You make him a cash deal. He'll just mail you a bunch of CDs.
Yeah, there you go. Like a hoodie. I want the CDs. I want to go back. But yeah, we've been on since August of 1990. So we've cut a couple shows in our day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple hundred already.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, long trips. I mean, you're on the road for 5 hours, and I can really get into it. So I have a Ford Explorer. I got a P430 code, and I'd replaced both downstream oxygen sensors on both banks. Or I have the 3.7 or 3.5.
No turbo
in it. No turbo. And so I'd replaced one of the oxygen sensors that went bad because the heater went bad on it. So I just replaced them both with factory oxygen sensors. And then I was doing a lot of testing on the cat. So I have core scan. So then I ran the oscilloscope on it, and the one oxygen sensor is a flat line, the other one is oscillating up and down, and both banks seem to match. The oxygen sensor voltage seems to be constant. The long-term fuel trims are at like 2%, and the short-term fuel trims, kind of fluctuate a little bit, but they're like 0, 1, 2% in there. There's no misfires, doesn't burn any oil, no coolant. The temperature of the cat, it says it's 645 degrees in forescan. I shot it with a laser temperature gauge before and after the cat, and it's going up 150, 200 degrees between it. And then I also attached a vacuum up to the rear of the exhaust and pressurized the exhaust system and sprayed some water and soap on the header, and it had a tiny leak right where it touches the head, but nowhere between the two oxygen sensors. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm fine replacing the cat. I feel like I've done everything I can do, or that I know of. So if you knew another test I would do, or just, hey, go replace the cat, that'll fix it. Or if sticking an O2 spacer on it would help. Or and if I do replace the cat, would you go with like the Walker one, which is like California emission systems, or they have like AP Eastern one, which is like carb compliant, which is like almost triple the price. So that was a long-winded question.
Well, you gave a lot of great information, and you obviously are next level on the types of checking that you've done compared to a lot of our callers and the diagnosis that you've already done. And as you were saying that, I was watching Russ, and he's like, okay, he's already did that. No, he's already done that. And so you've checked a lot of boxes already with this thing.
So you said 150 degrees. You've got 150 degrees difference. Now, coming out, it's hotter than what's going in?
Yeah, coming out's hotter than, so let's say I was shooting it and it was, 300 degrees going in, and it might be 550, 600 coming out.
Okay. And the downstream oxygen sensors are reading the same. Are they reading close to the front, the fuel trims on them?
Between the upstream and the downstream fuel trim. I have, like in Forescan, it goes long-term fuel trim 1 is 2.3, long-term fuel trim 2 is 2.3.
Okay.
And then it has like the O2 S12 short-term fuel trim. It does it like 99.22%, and then the other one's 99.22%. They have like so many different PIDs about about it.
That's it right there. So S1 and 2, that's sensor 1, bank 2, sensor 2, bank 2, downstream, or bank 1, sensor 2. 1, 2 is bank 1, sensor 2, which is downstream. If both of those are reading 99%, it's adding that much fuel, it thinks it's running lean, but your front ones are only adding 2, so it thinks it's normal. Did you replace the front oxygen sensors?
The upstream ones?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
One of those might be bad, or both of them might be bad. I would start with replacing those, because what it's telling me is that if you've got that much heat being built up in that converter, it's running rich. It's hot. It's really getting hot. I expect to see less than that at idle. So it's probably pretty rich. But if it's adding that much fuel, if that down trim is that low, it's probably lean. So something is going on there. I would replace those before I got too deep into anything else, knowing that we've seen enough of those with failures in the front. I would replace the front too as well. You've done both the downstream, right? For bad heaters.
Yeah, I bought the OEM one.
Yep. And I would replace those upstreams too and see what changes, just as a good start. It's kind of like doing a tune-up before you replace an engine, just to see, hey, we know these are worn or they've got enough age on them. Once you get 100,000 miles on them, they're considered pretty much shot. That's a lot of miles. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would do that and see what happens, because everything else you've done is spot on, and I would be aiming for that before I did much more diagnosis.
Yeah, because I figured if it's getting a heat difference between the front and the back of the oxygen sensor,
it's working.
The cat, then it's working.
A cat's working. Yeah, that's enough to not give a code. If it's more than 50 degrees, it's enough to not set a code. So something's got to be going in afoul on one end to make it do that. It's not actually seeing what's going on.
Okay. All right. No, that's super helpful. I'll get those ordered and pop them in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much for the call. And by the way, I went to underthehoodshow.com. Our embedded player on the website goes back 8 years.
Yeah,
it looks like it goes back like.
I think it goes back further.
I just went
just
and looked
8?
All the way back to.
That's the Libsyn feed.
17,
That's the podcast feed.
And it looks like it's cutting. It's exactly 8 years. It's like this.
Yeah,
date, so
I do have that set too. One of them I've got set so far, and one of them I got set for something else.
This one, boy, we got a pretty in-depth, nerdy bunch of calls today. You guys are getting way in the weeds on it.
I'll tell you in the break. I know why that's set for that many years.
Okay, all right. Are we listening to it right now?
No.
Okay. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
If car repair was cheap, you wouldn't need us. We're Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. If you miss an episode, you can always find it on any podcast app. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. And if you subscribe to YouTube and join the Hoodie Fan Club at underthehoodshow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Larry Hermanson. Congratulations from all of us here at Under the Hood and our friends over at Berkeley One Classic, celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage, and Universal Technical Institute, uti.edu. Check them out for everything automotive related, like technical training, that is.
What makes a car a collectible?
What makes a car collectible?
It's not age.
It's you. You make a car collectible. The desire of you and at least one other. You could collect it yourself and say, this.
I'm collecting.
This car is collectible. I love it.
Prius.
But do other people like
Right.
it? And the more people that like it, the more it becomes a collectible. There are some cars that are getting harder and harder to find. And if you got your hands on one already, the finding parts can be very
impossible.
Yeah, very difficult. I recently ran across somebody that has a car of mine, and I got them to say more about it than they probably should.
Oh no!
And,
oh no! We got a quest on our hands, Russ.
Well, the car title is still in my name.
We've had this happen before.
It's that car.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and
no.
And that title is still in my name. So now we're having a debate about what it's worth and should I have to pay to get it back or not. But
do I really want to?
Is it collectible? But what I found in the meantime is I didn't realize the value of some. I look at some cars and I say, wow, why is that car worth more than this? Like you look at why should a 77 Olds Cutlass be worth more than a 77 Trans Am, or things like that. You're like, huh? Is it people's desire for the things, or is it just because of how many there are out there? So what makes it collectible? I don't know, Chris. If it's to some people, a car is worth nothing. So but is it collectible?
I meant for Berkeley One.
They will
Exactly.
decide. They'll help you decide that.
Yeah.
And it has to do if you're collecting it and you're not using it on a regular basis. You're driving to car shows, going to events. They can help you decide that. They might say, you know what, we've never underwritten one of these before, but let us look into it.
Yeah.
They'll help you decide that. They've got the experts.
So let's say we take a car from recent. I've got I don't have one, but if you had a 06 Impala and it was an SS, but it was an 06 Impala. Now we go forward to 2040, okay? Is it a collectible car? They'll tell you. They'll decide. Because I have seen specific instances. You remember we looked at a picture of a beautiful vehicle, and we thought that could be collectible. And Berkeley One said, it doesn't fit. The SUV we saw the picture of. Anyway,
fine. I'm just not remembering it.
Yeah. But it wasn't because of the intended use of the vehicle and the use that it was currently enduring, which was not conducive to a car that you would protect and be collected.
And that's what when I had mine, obviously it was a collectible. It was a
Right.
69
But
Volkswagen
it was a
Beetle, but I was driving it every day.
daily
My kids were
driver,
driving it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if that 06 Impala, let's say, was part of a collection, let's say I have 50 cars, and that one I've put 300 miles on in the last 10 years, and it's pristine, and it sits in my thing, but I drive it. That's collectible. I mean, they'll help you with that. They can help you with so much stuff. You just got to call them. But you're going to be, if you do not, and you have a collectible or what you think is, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Because you're missing out on great coverage and what you can save.
866-594-4150. Let's talk to JJ. You're on the End of the Hood Show. JJ, what can we do for you?
Good morning. Honda 2012, 200,000 miles. Left front tire sounds like it's grinding. And at high speeds, it kind of wobbles up just a tad. When I drive in Sioux Falls, it kind of sounds like it's grinding. I'm thinking it might be the bearings are going out, but you guys have to maybe educate me on that.
The wobble's concerning, right?
The wobble, the grind, the speeds, all are conducive to a wheel bearing failure, especially on a CRV. It sure sounds like it could be a wheel bearing failure, and that's going to be a pressed in knuckle wheel bearing, not an unboltable one. But it's not the end of the world, because our partner Dorman Products does make pre-pressed axle assemblies and loaded knuckle assemblies, which for those of you who've had to ever do one of those, you'd be like, oh, thank goodness, because they're a pain.
What I would say this is the equivalent of is back in our old shop, we used to have a spring compressor because you regularly.
I still have it, but I hardly use it.
You regularly bought struts, and you had to recompress the spring back onto it. The market changed, and everybody realized we can sell a lot more struts if we have them pre-assembled with the spring on them as a ready strut, ready to bolt on the car.
And you don't have the noise.
And so they're doing the same thing now with these pressed-in wheel bearings, because so many shops don't have the press, they don't have the tool, they don't have the person who understands how to do it right.
They want to be safe.
And so they just get it. And you know what? I think another thing that drove this, the used parts industry.
Oh yeah.
You can go to Cardash Part and you can look up a spindle for a 2012 CRV, and you can easily find someone near you that has a spindle for a 2012 CRV. You can look and see what miles they have. You can see about the vehicle if they have pictures. And that was driving down the road, and when you unbolt it off the car, it unbolts with the hub pressed right into it. So if you find a vehicle with 80,000 miles that got wrecked on the other side of the car and it's all in good shape, you can buy that spindle hub assembly just like you'd buy it from Dorman Products, and you can just bolt it on. And you can do it in your driveway or do it in your garage, and you don't need those special tools that way.
But in this case, you would definitely lean that way.
Well, he needs to get that inspected right away.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a grinding going on, if it's brakes, you should be able to modulate that quite a bit just by moving your brake pedal. But it sure sounds like a wheel bearing.
JJ, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Bob. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Bob, what can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. I have a dreaded 6.2 engine in a GMC 1500 AT4 pickup. I had it in and had the inspection done. It passed the inspection. They're saying that I need to go to a 040 weight oil in it. It's time for another oil change. My dealer offers the Mobile One and the Pennzoil. Which one do I use?
Well, the Mobile One was the first one they chose, but did they find a problem with your engine?
No, it passed the inspection.
And so they're not going to replace it?
No.
Bob, we're in the same boat. Bob and I are in the same boat. I've had mine down for inspection. They actually put some listeners on there. That surprised me. I didn't know that was part of it. They had a little more of a process to it than I thought. And they told me that I was green light, start using the new oil. And we've continued that. I mean, Russ and I changed it, not us, he and his team. They changed it early before we could get the oil at the dealership, and just did that as a precaution to go to that supercar oil that they were recommending at that viscosity. But I don't know. I'm thinking that at some point they're going to come out with an extended warranty.
Yeah, you would think I would almost guarantee you'll see that push to 10-year, 100,000 miles.
I can't believe they haven't yet. There's a lot of pressure.
I believe they have. I believe they have from data. So from 22, they'll do 150,000 mile warranty on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But to answer your question, I don't know. I think I'm going to guess what Pennzoil has done is that said, hey, there was a demand in the market. I've got.
There was only one available.
I had a friend at a dealership, and they couldn't do the recalls because they couldn't get the oil. They couldn't get enough oil to do the recalls.
It took us 3 weeks to get the oil for yours.
Now that's been months back.
Yeah, in the beginning,
and I'm sure they rectified that. But I'm sure
it's
Pennzoil and others said, "All right, we got to get something to the market here." And so
the prices come down on it too, because that's something we stock, and it's really.
I would think either of the oils would be very, very good. I mean, I'm a fan of Mobile One, but that's just personal preference.
I had somebody come into the shop 2-3 weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, and they had a 6.2, and I told them that that's it. They came in and they said, I know I'm supposed to run this in there, but this is, I want to put the 0.20 in there. I said, I can't do it. And they're like, well, no, this is what I want. And I said, well, I won't do it. You'll have to go somewhere else. And they were pretty upset about it. They demanded that this is the oil they wanted. I said, I can't, because if something happens, they said, well, it doesn't matter. I'm choosing it. I said, it doesn't matter. You're under warranty. The factory is asking for this. If I don't put that in there, now I'm liable for it because I chose to put the wrong thing.
Or
in
at a minimum, they're going to be asking you questions. You don't want to have to be
whether
involved
I
in-
agree with it or not, I don't want to be involved.
Can I have you leave it empty and tow it out to the parking lot, and then I come fill my own car?
No.
Okay. I mean, that was a real question. I was kind of kidding, but
there again, we don't need the drama.
Right. Right.
It's just, yeah. But I mean, there's some things we agree with and we don't on those fluids. But now, yeah, you should be perfectly fine with Pennzoil or Quaker State. Oils are really good unless you go buy a very cheap bargain brand that doesn't meet the SAE specs. You should be fine with anything that meets the
used. You don't want to buy used
API
oil.
That's good for
rating.
the furnace, waste oil furnace.
Yeah,
Bob,
exactly.
thanks very much for the call. Good luck. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
If it needs more than duct tape, you need Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Daryl. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Daryl, what can we do for you?
Hey, good morning. I have a 1998 GMC K1500 with a 5.7 Vortex. Whenever I get above about 35 or 40 miles an hour, the transmission seems to want to slip. In fact, the other day when I got on the interstate, I could get up to 60 miles an hour, but I was running about 4,000 RPM.
Ooh.
Didn't seem like it wanted to shift.
Mm-hmm. So it's not going, probably not going past second. It's probably going from 1 to 2 to nothing.
Or just
Correct.
staying there, just hanging out. Because
Yep.
I mean, it's scared to go to the next gear because it can't hold the pressure.
Right. If we got a scanner on it, you'd probably see that it was commanded into third, into direct range, but it wasn't reaching it, so it's still.
And that's
staying
what
in
needs
second.
that's what needs to be checked.
Yeah, I could have a scanner plugged in it, drive it, and determine what is going on there. But that's likely what is going on, and usually it's a replacement transmission on those. It's a 98. It's got some years out of it. What's the mileage on it again?
250.
Uh-huh.
Russ just says it's broke.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of miles. Is that the original transmission, as far as you know?
As far as I know, yeah, I've owned it for about 10 years.
That's quite impressive, really.
And those trucks, the bodies on those trucks are really strong. They hold up a long time. I'll bet this thing, if it's got rust, it's probably got a little rust on the cab corners, maybe on the way in the back. But what does it look like?
It actually looks great.
Yeah,
I've taken care of it. I've got to replace one of the front fenders because there's rust through. But
yeah, right front corner down below on the bottom where it meets the door.
no, right above on the top of the fender well.
That's odd. I wonder if there's some trash up there. Usually it's leaves that fall down, and it's only on the passenger side where it gets down by that vent for some reason. But that's the reason they rust. But
mine's
they're
on the driver's.
yeah, those things are just. A lot of them hold up very, very well, and then some of the newer ones don't. It's just if you get a certain generation of Ford, Chevy, Dodge, whatever it is, like the Fords we know are going to rust up above the wheel wells on the rear, like the 04 to 10 or so, and some of the Dodge had the same problem, but otherwise the truck's super solid. And it's amazing they hold up with salt and stuff on the roads. But
Daryl, thanks very much for the call.
Is it worth me bringing it up?
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, we do.
Up to you guys. Is it?
So on transmissions like that, what we do is every product that comes in that's got a failure, engine, transmission, whatever it is, before, even if you've been to another shop, as part of our repair or replacement or both, whatever it is, we inspect the vehicle to find out what's going on and to make sure that that's what it is. And you know, about 1 out of every 10 we bring in that needs an engine or a transmission doesn't. And we call them up and say, oh, that'll be $500. They're like, well, I thought you told me 4,000 or whatever for what. And like, it wasn't bad. It was this. Like, really? Yay, Merry Christmas. So yeah, we can check it out for you.
Those are fun phone calls to make.
we can check it out and let you know. And we've got plenty to do. So I'm not worried. If I can save somebody money, I feel good and you feel good. You know, it's not
Does
like
anybody ever go like, yeah, well, here's an extra 300 for you and your guys?
The weirdest thing is we do get tips now and then, and Shannon, he loves to hear when we get them. He's like, hey, great if you get them. But when we get them, it's not the person who said, hey, I went over to a manufacturer or whatever, and they said it was going to be $15,000 to put this engine in, and you guys put the same engine in brand new for $8,000. You saved me thousands. You've saved my Christmas. My kids love you. You're great. Thank you. It's not that person. They give us a thank you, maybe, or they just go, oh, great, I got to spend the money, and they leave. It's the person who does an oil change, or the person who we gave some free advice to and didn't charge them anything, that goes over the top. I've had somebody give us $100 tip for an oil change where I just gave them a little bit of advice on something, and we're like, well, that's not necessary, but it's something small. I don't know if I've ever got the biggest tip we ever got was it was $1,000, and it was on that Cadillac, that we restored.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the old 57?
Yeah.
And he paid in cash, and he paid all the money. He goes, you count it and make sure this is right. And I counted it all out. And when I counted it all out, I said, oh, it looks like you gave me too much. And he said, glad you found that, because that's yours. If you didn't find it, I would remember. So I found it, and they said, that's yours to keep.
And I want to be on Daryl's side for a second. When you guys go, oh, of course it's broke too. It doesn't feel like when you're on the other end, and I say my transmission went out, and you say, oh, you're lucky it lasted as long as it did. Still doesn't feel lucky.
No.
Yeah, because you're still broken. But you know what? There are some other little power problems with that electronically shifted transmission that could cause things. There are other things to check. But if you want to get a telltale, if it was that level of I'm not holding pressure in third gear, if you pull out the dipstick and inspect the fluid, you should have some stink.
Or it's going to be dark orange, not red at all anymore.
Daryl, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Tom. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Tom, what can we do for you? Tom,
Nothing.
are you there? I thought I heard him, but I didn't.
Can we ask him to focus?
Tom?
Focus.
Tom, are you there?
Focus on the phone.
Tom's not there. All right.
We lost him?
We lost him. Call us back, Tom.
Yeah, that's
Or
sad.
maybe, you know what? I'll put you on hold. We'll try that
Tom
one.
has a focus with a cylinder 3 misfire. Just after it's sat for at least 4 or 5 hours. And when he starts it, runs a little rough, and then it smooths out. And he's been told that it has a porous cylinder block, and it's leaking into cylinder 3, and that the engine has to be replaced. Can he use K-Seal to take care of it, or does he need to replace the engine? Well, of course.
You're right.
K-Seal may actually fix this huge issue with this car. That could have been a real
Is that
call.
going to be a collectible now that they don't make the Focus anymore? Is that going to be
It's going to be a while.
It's going to be
Now, if it was a Focus ST,
right?
Or one of their, it's a pretty hot little
The
Focus RS,
Yeah.
and those they're maybe
For sure.
an RS for sure.
Yeah.
Focus RS for sure.
I saw something on the road the other day that I was going to mention to you guys that was totally off the wall with a local plate on it. So I just had to assume that it was never driven, or it was came from out of state. But it looked pretty new. It wasn't a historical plate, and it was a middle age, late middle age, upper middle age, you call that, I guess. I don't know. Around maybe older than me driving it. Like a 80? Like an 80 or 81. It was a Cutlass 4-door. The smaller bodied Cutlass 4-door.
Like the Malibu chassis.
Yeah, like a Malibu.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that a G body?
G body.
It is the 4-door G body.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it looked like it was a Cutlass Supreme 4-door, dark blue, and it was just plain. but I haven't seen one of those on the road in probably 20 years. When was the last time you seen one?
Well,
Here,
it's
on
been
the
a bit.
anywhere. And it's not like you bring them to a car show, but every once in a while we'll see in our area, down south. You see
That
them
makes
all
me
over.
think of 1985 when you could have a Cutlass Calais, a Cutlass Supreme, a Cutlass rear-wheel drive, a Cutlass
Convertible.
Sierra. Yeah, they
Oh, no.
had Sierra.
Yeah, Sierra.
There was so many Cutlasses that were on the radar in 1985. Getting the parts straight was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the worst. That's one of the worst ones that I remember. Just when you brought up Cutlass.
Yeah, just put some of these cars and they take you back, and you're like, "Wow, where did that come from?" And
The other day, I saw at the gas station an old, obviously, Ford Escort
yeah,
that looked, and you wouldn't think they survive, and this one didn't look like it survived. I mean, it looked like the
It shouldn't
worst
have?
example. Yeah, I was like, I don't think.
how is it still running?
Right, I don't think that should be on. It looked real rough, and it was full of. I mean, the guy. It was one of those. You could tell the guy was keeping it on the road, and it was in rough shape, but he was milking it along, and I was just like, huh, you don't see those very often. Again, how long has it been since you've seen one of those on there? And this one looked like you would expect. Like it looked like it was still stuck back in the trees.
I don't know if there's still a lot of people driving around cars and collecting cars and doing car shows and things, but with the way the world has changed with technology and phones and all these things, the way we look at cars has changed too. According to Berkeley One, because they do a lot of collectors, there is a huge movement with younger people, and it was always a small percent of the market, maybe 5% of everybody collected a car at home. So maybe now we still got 5%, but we see so many other people that don't, that could. I mean, it's a great, family, son, daughter project to have collectible cars and stuff. And a collectible doesn't have to mean Barrett Jackson $100,000 car. It could be, hey, great grandma had this old 70s LTD in the garage. You see you go by a high school parking lot these days and you'll see somebody that's got like a 78 LTD that was grandpa's car, and everybody thinks it's cool. I mean, that is the new old, and it's affordable to fix. They're pretty solid and reliable yet. Even in like an 87 Grand Marquis, a fuel injected car, it's a collectible car, not Berkeley One Classics collectible type thing maybe, but it's a collectible car, is desirable for a young person to own, and it's cool because it's different than driving a 02 Impala. I'd rather drive that 87 Marquis around because this just stands out.
There's a Facebook group, Low Miles, No Miles, that I watch, and it's just interesting to see some of the stuff that'll pop up on there that people have just had stashed away, and all of a sudden they're bringing it out, and it's kind of neat to see the stuff that comes up on there.
It is weird when I see stuff that's like a barn find that's been sitting there for 30 years or 40 years, and it seems like a normal car, and you're like, it's not a 58 Chevy, it's a 1999, and you're like, oh, weird, you know? Yeah.
Who did that?
That's going to do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. Until next time, you can always find us at underthehoodshow.com. Don't forget, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch the show on our YouTube channel and our social media channels. Thanks for listening to the Under the Hood Show. All right, this is the after show. Hi, everybody. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Tom. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Tom, what can we do for you?
Yeah, hey, I've got a 2018 Ford Fusion, and the other night I was at a meeting and for about 2 hours, and I came out and started the car, and the screen in the middle console there just went blank, and I couldn't do anything with it. And the problem I had is I had to drive home, and it was cold, and all the windows started to fog up, and there's really no manual control for the heater or anything once the screen goes blank. So, I mean, Is there anything you can do about that?
Usually it's replace the screen. Or it may be the sync module that's bad. One of the two, or both sometimes. But that's, you can't do anything without that touch screen working, and that it's got a sync module and it's got the screen, which is the interface to control the sync module. So they both got to work, but it's a very high failure rate item.
We're not talking about the kitchen sink. We're talking about
Right.
SYNC, the Ford Sync system that controls
Syncing the human to the car.
Yes.
Synchronicity.
And so that isn't it supposed to default to defrost if the system's not working, or does it not go that way anymore?
No, because it thinks it is working. It just thinks that's where you left it sitting.
Okay.
If it breaks, yeah, it will. But if it just doesn't get a reading from the
That's an
person,
interesting conundrum that
if it sets a code and says, "Hey, we've got a failure," defrost, and puts the blower on medium, and it's good and tends temperature like warmer, it's automatic. But when it doesn't set any codes because the screen is just not taking any input, it says, "Oh no, it's great. This is where the customer wants it."
So it's like,
And that happens more in the cold than when it's temperate out there, right? I mean,
sometimes it's like the wipers usually won't work when it's raining, but you can use the washers and turn the wipers on when it's not, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to say, Tom?
So is that kind of a common thing? And is that an expensive fix to do the module, change it out or whatever?
Somewhere between $300 and $1,000, depending on what is wrong with it and where you go to get it fixed. And it is very common. I would say if you are a driver of one of these cars, I don't know, maybe 1 out of every 100 is going to have to replace it. There are a lot of cars out there. So, when we're seeing a number of them that have to get repaired.
Have the prices of the new ones came down, or is it just kind of hit and miss which ones are expensive and which ones aren't?
Most of them on the Fords are pretty similar, and you can pick them up used a lot of the times and put them in. The programming for Fords has now become almost unobtainable compared to what it used to be the easiest programming interface. Now all we have left is GM, because Ford and Dodge have they said our first priority is to the dealers, not to the aftermarket, and we don't have enough people to support it, so they're working on it. So eventually they'll get it. So the law says they have to do it, but there's nothing that says they have to do it when they don't have the people to do it.
Tom, good luck. Thanks for the call. That's it. That is a common call we get. Is there any? All right, I bring it to you. You say I can fix it for this. Can Tom bring it to his Ford dealer and somehow try to convince them that if they give him a deal, he's going to buy like 22 more Ford fleet cars? Is there any? Do you get any leverage if you go to the dealership and say, "Well, this is my 10th Ford, and I was going to buy 12
I have
more"?
had some people that have bought one car from the dealer, and the dealer bent over backwards, and they couldn't say enough good about them.
Yeah.
I've also had people that are in their 80s that own a company and that said, "I have bought over 200 vehicles from this one specific dealer, and they would not help me. I told them I'm done buying cars from them and who I was and how many I'd bought, and they said,
sorry,
thanks, that's what I can do." I have to believe that when that happens, they're talking to the wrong person. Because if you were talking to a service writer that really doesn't know, they're not going to think about it.
They think I'm trying to trick them.
Yep.
And I am. In this case, they're right. But
I know as the owner of a dealership or the sales, I would bet if you walked over to the sales manager and told him what just happened in the service department,
the guy that you bought it from,
they would, even if they couldn't do anything, they would make it look like they were doing something for you, because you do not let if you're making, that's just like when you buy stuff in bulk. Well, they're still making the same amount of money. They're just selling you more of XYZ
right
at 50%. They're not going to lose money. So yeah, I don't think so, Chris.
And I'm gonna throw in there too. You got to be reasonable about your requests. Things break.
Yeah.
There are times where people get, I think, unreasonable what they expect.
Yeah, that warranty should have been better than that. It only lasted 3 years, but the warranty was 1 year. But it only made it 3. your original only made it 2. And then I put a used one in and it made it 3. So it made it longer than the factory one did.
Yeah, I've seen people choose the hill they want to die on to be a very odd one.
So it's probably not going to work with a
This screen,
2018.
no.
Especially
This is not
since I recently bought a much newer car and I said, hey, sometimes the screen doesn't work. And they said, yeah, sometimes it doesn't. That'll probably be recalled. Pay attention.
But you do want to ask them, is there any campaigns on this?
Right.
Because just like the backup cameras right now, there are very few backup cameras that are probably not under some sort of a campaign.
Yeah.
So before you spend $500 replacing a backup camera, let's ask. Let's find out. Is this covered by the manufacturer? Have they extended their grace on this?
Right. Tom, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. All right. I think that's going to do it for the Under the Hood show. You guys, anything?
Well, no.
Okay.
And I was just going to think I could talk about all kinds of stuff, but no.
All right.
The holidays are coming, and we're going to be on and off here through the holidays with best of shows and in-person shows. We got a couple more before Christmas, right?
No. I mean, just
a couple
the only show we're not.
2 regular shows, and then we'll have best of shows.
Yeah, Chris is gone next week for the regular show.
No, but we're still live.
Right, we're live.
We're
We have
live.
2 more regular shows.
He's gone.
And they're all regular shows, really, because it's live. Because it's live content that we just
didn't use,
put together into a best of show. So when you listen to those best of shows, producer Doug a lot of times has got all new content that you've never heard before. And if you're listening to it, other than trying to call in live, you may not know that that it's not real.
But we should probably just stop calling them a best of, because a lot of times it's not even. I mean, it's
not
always the best,
of.
right?
It's not that good.
But it's a good way in the industry to say it, though,
Instead
isn't it?
Instead of best of, we could just call it mediocre of. It's a regular mediocre show. That's
This
what
is
I would.
a compilation of things we never used because we didn't have time.
Right. Not because it wasn't good.
This is our closet.
This
This is a closet show.
Try this. See if you like this. No? All right. Well,
What should we call it? Really, guys? Let's have that debate in public here.
Okay. Best of.
Here's a collection of some of our worst calls.
A special episode always worked.
Yeah, you hear that
Facts
before.
of Life. Remember Tom Hanks was on there. That was a very special episode.
But then what if they listen and say, it wasn't that special?
Yeah, and you oversell it.
It seemed like all the others.
And you can't. And it's not an encore like Saturday Night Live. It's
Right.
it's because you never heard it before. We never done it before.
Yeah.
It's and it's not a. Okay, it used to be a best of show, but when we didn't have
Producer Doug's over there going, just shut up.
when we didn't have but we didn't have extra content from the after show, we would take calls back in the day out of other shows. And
I don't
put 'em
need
together.
your
For
guys'
YouTube
ideas.
at Christmas, instead of just running nothing, maybe I'll just turn it on live and they can do like me and my wife driving across country.
Taking
Here's
calls.
live. Look at the world's largest ball of twine. Look at the stickiest wall of gum. Look at this trash can in the gas station at the Citgo. Have you ever seen one that dirty?
Yeah.
Ugh.
The medium.
Oh, look, no snow.
The medium
and 60
show.
degrees.
Medium, not best of. It's just standard.
A show you might like.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, everybody. That I think we should.
But just for Christmas and New Year's, there will be a show that is not us humanly sitting in the studio live.
Yes. All right.
No, we were sitting in the studio doing it.
All
You just
right,
won't be able
that's
to call
enough.
in.
All right.